everybody, welcome back to the Mover Mailbag. I'm Mover, CW Lemoine, author of the Spectre series. Hope you guys are having a great week. Hopefully a little less serious, I guess. You know, it was a rough weekend. I know the funeral services for Captain Liberto are on Friday in the Mandeville area, so I won't be able to attend that. In fact, I'm actually going on Friday, probably today when this is uploaded, to actually help out so that one of the Honor Guard members can partake in the service. So I'll be doing some law enforcement stuff to help out and free them up. So it's been a while since we've done a Mover Mailbag, so got a few questions and thought I would answer them and go back to some aviation maybe and career advice. So let's go. Also, programming note, on Saturday at noon Central Time, the finals for the Folds of Honor Fight for Honor 2019 are this weekend, and I will be doing the rounds on Saturday. I'll be doing the live commentary with Moltar, and I will be kind of his Troy Aikman, John Madden, if you will, while he does the play-by-play. So we'll be doing that live. I'll be streaming it on this channel, and also I'll leave the link to his Twitch in the description. So join us for that. It should be pretty fun. I think Sunday may even get WAGs. I probably won't be able to do Sunday, but I think there's going to be some, it'll obviously be live streamed both days. So check it out. Hope you guys enjoy it. It's from noon until about 1:30, I think. So, but I'll put the exact times in the description. All right, so first question is something we posted on the Make 'Em Tell You No group. And if you're not familiar with the Make 'Em Tell You No group, it is a Facebook group that I've created so that I can answer some of these questions from actual fighter pilots, former fighter pilots, airline pilots, stuff like that. So you get some more one-on-one, because I do get quite a few questions. Here's one. It says, hey Mover, I saw in your recent upload that you never get anything from Twitter, so I thought I'd give it a try. First, I want to say that Spectre Rising is a good read. I'm about halfway through it now. And secondly, the Make Them Tell You No group on Facebook is an excellent idea. I've gotten some good advice from the community there. My question is, what are the differences in culture you've experienced between the Air Force and Navy Reserve squadrons you've flown for, traditions, fun activities, and so forth? I'm going to try to paint this with a broad brush because it's very... I don't want to get too specific and in the weeds and stuff, because some of the stuff's just not going to make sense. But the common saying is that the Air Force tells you what you can do and the Navy tells you what you can't do. And I think that's true for the most part. Now, the Navy gives you enough rope to hang yourself, but meaning they'll basically won't tell you it's not allowed, and then they'll cover it in a catch-all like flat hatting or something like that, and you'll still get in trouble for doing something flying related anyway. In a Navy squadron, the skipper is the boss. It's God. So the skipper being the commanding officer, or the CO, if you will, that's the person in charge of the squadron. And under the squadron, you have maintenance and administration, and everything reports to this one person. And then you've got the XO, who is in line to be the skipper, that's kind of taking up the slack and also. So it's kind of like mom and dad. And in the Navy, the skipper is ultimate authority and has quite a bit of power. Now, that can be great because they can get stuff done, they can take care of their people, they can give you top cover, they can do all kind of good things for you. It can be very bad, and you can have a very bad skipper that can make life miserable and make the squadron terrible, and nobody wants to be there. So I think the Navy pretty much depends on who's in charge for that squadron. Now in the Air Force, they don't have as much power, and a lot of it's delegated, and even 06s, i.e. colonels, don't have a lot of power that you'd see in the Navy. So they don't have a lot of power to do good things, but in the same sense, they don't have a lot of power to do bad things. And it's it's become very risk averse. So, and that's both services really. But on the Navy side, everything happens in the ready room. That's where everybody kind of hangs out. That's kind of where the camaraderie is. And the Air Force side, you don't get as much of that. There is some hanging out in the squadron, what do they call it, heritage room now, legacy room. It used to be called the squadron bar, but now it's you can't say that anymore. But there has been a little bit of a culture change in the Air Force, and some places still have it and some places don't. As far as the flying goes, I think the Air Force is a little bit more tactics driven, and they focus more on tactics. The Navy is very proficient, very good at tactics. I'm not saying that one's better than the other, but they also have landing on the aircraft carrier to focus on, and they do a lot of their training away from home with detachments versus the Air Force, which, aside from exercises, does most of their training every day, focusing on the mission, focusing on tactics at wherever they're based, because they have the airspace and the basing and stuff like that. So as far as the flying goes, in the Navy you have a little bit more freedom. They treat you more like a big boy or a big girl, and they expect you to know the rules, apply the rules, and they don't really hold your hand. In the Air Force, it's very structured, it's very rigid, and you don't have that kind of freedom that you'd have in the Navy. Is one better than the other? Not really. I mean, they're both. It just depends, luck and timing, just like everything else. It just depends on where you are and how it kind of plays out as far as who's in charge and what the culture is like at the time and what the atmosphere overall. You know, we've had some really dark times in the military with sequestration and budget cuts and all that stuff, and that kind of has affected things. You know, we just we didn't have the funding that we used to. But in general, you can't go wrong with either of them. I think they're both very good. Navy flying was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. You know, the Air Force culture, they have roll calls, which are a lot of fun to do. You know, the hanging out and the kind of the squadron history and stuff like that. There's a lot to the Air Force stuff that they do, First Fridays and all that stuff, which I didn't see in the Navy, but again, I was in a Navy Reserve squadron. The Navy did go hang out at the O Club at Fallon, so that was part of it too, so that was cool. But, you know, that's both services, so. Hope that answers it. I know it's kind of vague, but by design. Next question. This is not a question, this is just funny. Blackhawk Tactical posted, "Happy birthday to the United States Air Force. Thanks for those who serve. Air Force birthday, Air Force Blackhawk Tactical." I'll let you tell me in the comments what's wrong with this picture. All right, next. Okay, this comes from, this is going to be anonymous, and the reason this is going to be anonymous is because this is kind of tough love. "Hi, CW Lemoine, my name is Cadet," we're not going to say it, "from a detachment at a certain aeronautical university, and I have a question. I know this is not good at all, but I have missed multiple leadership labs and 3 PT days, and I'm at the point I want to cry because I just can't understand why I can't wake up at 5 a.m. So I was wondering what were the limits on missing days until you were out of the program. I'm at the point I'm ashamed to wear my uniform." Wow. All right, so the focus of this channel, or the focus of the advice I've given, is make them tell you no. And that means basically keep pressing, keep pushing, do what you need to do. In fact, I made a sticker. You can get a sticker. You have to get the people in a position of authority to make them tell you no. You have to take every opportunity. You have to just keep pushing until you reach your goal. With that said, there is a bit of, you got to be self-sufficient. You have to be a self-starter, and I really don't have much sympathy for that. And I don't know many fighter pilots that will, because that's just being an officer, that's being an adult. It is basic. It doesn't matter what job you have, you're going to have to wake up. You're going to have to get up early. You're going to have to do stuff you don't like, and you just got to suck it up and make it part of your routine. Now, whether that means setting an alarm an hour prior because you can't get up, or forcing yourself some other way, I don't have any advice on that, but you absolutely should be ashamed of yourself, because you absolutely, this is a stupid problem. I'm at a loss for words. So the bottom line is, this is not going to get easier in that regard, because you're going to have some very early wake ups, some very late nights as a fighter pilot. And if you want to be a fighter pilot, if you want to be anything in the military at all, this is part of the job. And you know, if this is too much for you, then actually I don't even think civilian. I don't know of a civilian job that this is going to be easy for you to do. So it's just suck it up and get better. And if you can't do it, then don't do ROTC and find something else. But this is on you. Yeah. I got nothing. I really do. I got nothing. Next question. Oh boy. All right. This comes from J-Con. Hey Mover, not sure if you'll read this message or not. Don't feel like you have to reply back either. I just wanted to drop this message on saying how much I appreciate your videos and posts. You're an inspiration to me and many others. Ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to become a fighter pilot. To be honest with you, I made a few wrong choices in life due to some mental health issues, and that's all it took to have my dream taken away. I've owned up to it though, and now I'm working towards a degree and a career in the mental health field. Your most recent video about law enforcement was great as well. I thank you for your service in the community and the county. So again, thank you for all you do. Love from Rochester, New York. Thank you. It's nice to read something nice like that. You can make mistakes, and this goes back to the last kid that can't wake up. You can make mistakes. It's okay. Things are recoverable, and it may not be the path for you, but find what you're passionate about. Find what works for you, and make them tell you no, even if it's not the military. Maybe it's mental health. This is awesome. This is a great post. You know, I love hearing stories of people that have overcome things, hardships in their lives. And we don't do enough in our country, in the United States, to raise awareness about mental health, because it is a very big issue here in the country. I believe it has a lot to do with some of the events we've seen, especially with mass shootings and some of the violence and stuff like that. We don't do enough to get people the help they need. So I hope that that's something that you can do for your community as a mental health counselor, and I think that's something that we need to do more of and appreciate. Next question. Hey Mr. Lemoine, I wanted to thank you. I saw your video about make them tell you no attitude a few days before applying for my Class 1 medical, without which it is impossible to issue a CPL in the EU. I failed my first attempt in the evening. Upon reflection, I remember your video and some similar difficulties I went through during my military service. Your video is a huge motivating factor for me to not give up until the person of the highest authority I can reach has told me no. I figured out another path and the result. Thank you very much for your video. So he got, I'm not going to show a picture of this, but he got his medical. So congratulations. That's awesome. And that's it. That's it. That's it. Just keep pushing. Don't have the what if or what could have happened. Just keep pushing. Make someone, you are your own worst enemy when it comes to stuff like this, because people will have the first level of resistance and go, well, I'm done. Can't do this. Obviously, it's not meant to be. But a lot of times, there's still hope. There's still an ability to keep going. So thanks for that. Next question. Good evening, Mover. I'm currently a sophomore in AFR ROTC at the University of Florida. I'm generally pursuing a pilot slot in the hopes of flying fighter jets. I have recently gained interest in the special operations community and wonder if I should consider trying to become a combat rescue officer instead of flying. What are your opinions on the field? Have you known many CROs? How would you compare the two careers? I have what it takes to do either. Is more of a question which would best suit me. Thanks for your time, very respectfully. I think that's an awesome, I have the utmost respect for the snake eaters, for the special ops guys, especially combat rescue officers, PJs, TACPs, all that stuff. I think that is a very noble profession. I think it's awesome. They go in and do some really high-speed stuff and really help people. I watched a series on Nat Geo a couple years ago about the Pedros, which is, if you haven't seen it, it's really awesome. You should check it out. But the Pedros are the rescue helicopters that go in and, take an enemy fire and fly in, evacuate either downed airmen or even injured Army, Marine, SEALs, whatever's in theater, and help them out. And that's, the CROs are in charge of the PJs, it's an officer position. It's apples and oranges. It really is. For the fighter community, or flying fighters, flying airplanes, that's awesome. You have, obviously you have the ability to go fly for the airlines, you have the ability to make a career out of it. It's a great way to serve your country. I can't say anything negative. I hate to be like, well, you're asking a pilot, and I can't tell you that. I know that, I don't know personally anyone that's done it, but I have a lot of respect for people who do, and I know it's a very high-speed, low-drag community, and I appreciate them, especially as a pilot, knowing that we have brave people out there that will come save my ass if I jump out over enemy territory. So I have the utmost respect. So if that's something you choose to do, more power to you. I think it's awesome, and I thank you for it. If you want to be a pilot, that's another option too. There are a lot of options. It's just, both are great ways to serve your country. It's really, It's really tough. It's a really tough thing. I would say, you know, for long term, the flying world will have more opportunities in the civilian sector versus this, which, I mean, you could go be a CRO and then go to med school or something. I mean, there's so many different options. So, God, I wish I had a better answer, but they're both very awesome, and you know, you're an awesome kid for wanting to do the cool job. So good on you for that, and good luck. I hope it works out for you. And if you're at this kid's detachment, go find, I can't tell you what university he's at, but if you ever run into somebody you can't wake up, please go talk to him, because yeah, that was something that needs to be handled at like your cadet level. You guys need to deal with that, because that's just whatever. All right, next question. This comes from Zachary. I just want to say I wish the internet was better and people like you existed when I went to college. I wanted to be a fighter pilot since I was 3, got my PPL, which is private pilot's license, at 18. Went to Embry-Riddle and got a scholarship. But then when medical happened, it was found out I had asthma past the cutoff, 13 years, and shit eyes. When I was at Riddle post-medical, a major at the detachment told me I'd never fly. Sadly, I took her word for it. Ended up getting my master's at Yale, so didn't completely shit the bed, but never flew fighters. I wish there was someone there telling me to not take no for an answer. Generally, I hope kids out there listen to you, because I wish someone like you was around in 2004 to tell me what you tell everyone. Sadly, I'm too old now. I'd give a left, you know what, to get a slot. But at 34, that's not going to happen. Use this as reference choose, but people really need to know there are more examples of people who were told no who could have. Though I try to not be that, I could have, bitch. I took no for an answer, and it falls on me at the end of the day. Yeah, you know, it sucks to have regrets. Although at 34, if you've got all the squares checked, you actually still have time. You find a guard unit, you tell them your story. If you can get through all the medical stuff, there's still a chance if you wanted to pursue it. But, you know, and then there's still civilian aviation and stuff. But yeah, this is what I'm talking about. This kind of drives home the point. You don't want to be, especially for the younger viewers, you don't want to be the person that has the regrets. And the way you do that is by pushing forward. Don't self-eliminate. Don't let someone who's not in a position of authority eliminate you. Keep pushing until you absolutely have the final answer. And make sure you know it's the final answer and not just, well, somebody told me no. Okay. All right, next question. This comes from Jason. Thanks for the info given through your videos. You may direct me to someone else or your Facebook group, and that's fine, but I have a question. I am 43 and I've always wanted to fly. I'm at a point in my life that pursuing the commercial pilot life is very appealing. I don't have my PPL yet as well, but I figure 20 more years of working in an industry that is interesting to me sounds better than what I'm currently doing IT work. I guess what I'm asking is this. Is there a path to being a commercial pilot feasible for someone in their 40s? What options are there for me to look at? Would the return on investment be smart and or possible? Thanks for taking the time to read answers, redirect my queries, Jason. All right, Jason, I get this question pretty often about people wanting to know if it's too late for a career path. The mandatory retirement age for a commercial pilot, i.e. 121, is 65. And that's your 65th birthday. For other like commercial pilots, like private charters and stuff like that, it's a little bit higher. In fact, some don't even have, it depends on what you do, but some don't have a retirement age. Now, with that said, it is going to be an expensive and uphill battle. You know, there's the initial cost of, and that's why there's a pilot shortage, because the initial cost of getting your license, at least getting your commercial so you can start building time. It will, depending on what you're making in the IT field, it's going to be a pay cut. If you can continue your IT job while you build time, it'll be less of a pay cut, but it's going to take longer. The thing with aviation is it's neither fast nor cheap. There's no silver bullet that'll get you there other than joining the military, and even that takes 5 to 10 years. If you can do it while you do your IT job, I think that's the best route, and that would probably take you 5-10 years to get to the point where you're a regional pilot, probably doing it part-time. If you put money aside and just plowed through it and got to be a CFI and started building your time and then started doing and then went to the regionals, you could probably get to the major within a reasonable amount of time. But I think depending on what you're making now, it might not be financially feasible. What I recommend is try it out. At least go get your private pilot's license, see if you like it. This may be something you want to just do as a hobby, or if you want to make it a career, you'll at least know. The thing about it, though, I caution people about, well, you know, the thrill of aviation, I want to do that every day. By design, airline flying is not thrilling. It's not meant to be. It's not at all. In fact, if it is thrilling, you know, if it were thrilling, no one would ever do it as a passenger. So if you're looking for, well, I want something fun and meaningful and stuff, I don't think necessarily airline flying is that answer. Flying on the side is a hobby, absolutely. Maybe doing something for charity is a hobby. There's all kind of there's rescue organizations where they fly rescue dogs to their new owners. They help or fly kids to places that they need to be. Even some life flight stuff. There's a lot of charity flying you can do that gives you a mission. You can even fly for the Civil Air Patrol. But as far as a career change, I would just do the math. You have to go look and see, you know, how long do you think you're going to be a CFI? How long do you think you're going to be a regional pilot? How long, because really those are your options, or a corporate pilot, you know, jet pilot or something like that. And look at all the costs and just look at how much you're making now and then compare it to that, because, you know, it's all about seniority. And the way the hiring wave is working right now, you're on the front side, but in 10 to 15 years, when you're starting to look at the major airlines, depending on how long it takes you, you may be on the backside of that and you'll be stagnant and won't ever make enough money to make up for what you've made in your IT field. Now, I don't want to throw a cold bucket of water on your plans. I just, you know, it helps to be realistic and go in with the mindset that I understand what I'm getting into. But as someone who's done, you know, military and airline flying, I don't think of airline flying as a very exciting, rewarding profession. I think it's a good job. I think it pays well. I think you work with some outstanding people. I think you get some great training with some highly professional instructors. But, you know, do I think it's going and dropping bombs in bad guy land or protecting a target or doing any of the stuff I did in the military? No. And it's not meant to be. It's not. That's not the point. So, whether you think it's rewarding, some people absolutely think it's rewarding and it's outstanding and it's the best job they've ever had, and more power to them. But realize that it's mostly point A to point B. Actually, it's exclusively point A to point B, mostly on autopilot. So that's kind of the flying part. Now, it is challenging when you're doing, you know, you've got weather, you've got passenger issues, you've got diverts, you've got traffic congestions, mechanical problems. You know, there's a lot of stuff that can be thrown at you that is challenging and rewarding to figure out and kind of work your way through like a puzzle, but that's not overall the job, and because it's not meant to be that. So just something to think about. All right, last question. Hey Mover, I'm wondering if you could possibly answer this question for me. Apologies if you've already answered this or spoken about it, trying to get through all your videos regarding the topic, but there's quite a few. Obviously, you've spoken a lot about pursuing a pilot career with the Air National Guard. Thanks for all the information and transparency with which you've provided it. I'm wondering about if and when you secure your position within the unit and go to training, what happens to your commitment to the unit if you wash out? Do you still have to finish out your contract in another capacity? What if there are no other jobs within your unit that are available to you? Will one be created, or am I completely wrong and your contract is not signed and entirely dependent on if you pass flight school and return to them? Doubt they just let you go free if you fail school, right? Also, if you have any knowledge on what could potentially happen to you if active duty and wash out, wouldn't mind sharing. That would be greatly appreciated. Thanks for your time. I think it's a bad attitude to be worried about what happens if you wash out. You're not going to wash out. Just put that in your head. You're not going to wash out. You're going to do well. You're going to pass. Everything's going to be fine. You're going there to get your wings and move on. Failure's not an option. But that said, to answer your question, if you are going to a fighter unit and for whatever reason you don't make fighter grades, which you need to do, and they say, well, you're not fit to go fly F-16s, F-22s, or whatever, they will help you find a unit that is more suitable for you, like C-17s, KC-135s, helos, whatever. So that does happen all the time. If you absolutely wash out of pilot training, typically you have one of many options, because your active duty service commitment, the 10 years, doesn't start until the end of training. So once they have decided that you cannot fly anything and you're not going to get through pilot training and that's the end of it, you can either reclassify, reassign to another job, like you could go back to be the maintenance officer at that squadron, or security forces, or logistics, or you could go do something else, intel, something like that. And that's the same for active duty. They will say, hey, okay, we need to get you another job, and what do you want to do? If the other option is, more than likely they'll let you out of here, because there is a commitment for becoming an officer, but more than likely, based on manning and needs and stuff, they'll just let you go. Like, you can just go, all right, here's your discharge, you're done. No harm, no foul. So I have never heard of someone being required to stay that didn't want to. Typically speaking, and even on the active duty side, typically speaking, they'll either find you a job that you can do, or you can ask to be separated and you're done. And that's it. That's all there is to it. But I caution against, because I did this actually. This happened to me when I was in Intro to Fighter Fundamentals. So I went to pilot training. If you watch my video, I did really well in pilot training. And for whatever reason, because I'd heard so many rumors, I got it in my head that I was going to wash out of IFF before I even started. And the first time I hooked a ride, which was my first unsat ever. I didn't bust a single ride in pilot training, and I go to IFF and I bust like ride number 4 for formation. It was something stupid. And I was convinced I was going to wash out. So I started worrying about it and thinking about it and looking at other jobs. I was going to go do AFOSI, which is the Air Force Office of Special Investigations. Like, I had all these plans and stuff, and it stresses you out. When in reality, it was fine. I was never in any danger of washing out. No one ever was about to wash me out. It was just all in my head. So don't psych yourself out with stuff like that. Just go, enjoy it, be a part of the training process, help your bros, boys and girls, that's not a gender thing, and be the best student pilot you can be. And then once get your wings, be the best. If you go to IFF, be the best young wingman you can be, and be the best whatever you fly, F-16 pilot you can be. Don't worry about, well, what if, because it's all going to work out, I promise. So anyway, that's it for today's Mover Mailbag. A lot of questions today because I'm trying to catch up. If you have questions, cwlemoine, cwlemoine.com, facebook.com/cwlemoine, and you can join the Make Them Tell You No Facebook group, where we've got fighter pilots that'll answer questions and stuff. More U.S. based. Foreign countries, we really can't help you. We're U.S. We don't really have a whole lot of information on other militaries. So, if you join and ask, it's probably not going to get answered. And also, you can mail me something, P.O. Box 8594, Mandeville, Louisiana 70470. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thanks for watching. Please check out the live feed on Saturday for the Folds of Honor, Fight for Honor 2019. If you're into the DCS stuff, I'll put the link in the description, plus the Twitch feed. And then stay tuned next week. I'm hoping, if I got time to film it, I got a fun video. I've got a list of fighter pilot lingo, fighter pilot terms that we use to kind of translate and maybe help, because I've noticed a couple videos I've said some stuff and people in the comments going, what does that even mean? I don't know, what's that? So I think that'd be fun. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Excuse me. No. Oh! About a lot of that. Usually fly with the doors off. All pots too. Don't be a douche. That's rule number 1. Make them tell you no.